I'm Lee Spencer with RacinBoys.com, and I'm with Kevin Harvick. Incredible year for you, one short of, winning the championship, but overall a solid year.
It really was, and the way that our point system works now, there's going to be sometimes you hope that it's a night that you hit it, and for us, we hit it during the day, and we're off a little bit at night compared to to the other guys. So great year. Obviously, I think it's the best year that I've ever had in a stock car, with all the race wins and top 10s and top 5s and all the things that we were able to accomplish this year. So it was a great year, and there's really no other way to categorize it other than that.
As strong as you're going now, I know that there's been a move for the youth movement, but my God, I'd put you up against anybody. You show no signs of slowing down. Is that just kind of has Rodney kind of reinvigorated you, or are you just enjoying what you have right now?
Well, I think that half of this battle is keeping yourself motivated from a personal side and keeping up with the grind. And if things aren't going well, and you don't enjoy the people that you're around, then it really wears on you pretty fast. And I think right now I feel like it's it would be a letdown for me to not show up to the racetrack prepared, because I know how much effort that everybody puts into putting my car on the racetrack and all the things that they do. And it's a group of people that I enjoy being around, and don't want to let them down. And I think that makes it more tolerable than what it can be when things are tough or not going right. So we've been fortunate that, for the most part, even when things aren't going right, we've been able to right the ship. And I think a lot of that comes from the resources and the mentality that the ownership has towards racing. Gene Haas and Tony Stewart love racing, and they like to compete and win, and those are the things that we hear about.
When you look at that whole organization, they're racers. You raced for Richard Childress, and I would say he was a racer, but there's just something about the energy at Stewart Haas Racing where it seems like everybody's pulling in the same direction.
Well, it's important to get all four teams to the point that they were this year, just because of the fact that, you in order to continue building things and fill gaps, and especially during the times that you're off, you need four competitive cars that are giving feedback. And I think this year is definitely the first year that we've had four that have been capable of winning races and did win races. And so to me, that's really when you start building things in the right direction and show that you're doing things right, is when you can put four cars on a racetrack and put them in victory lane and in contention every week.
Kyle Busch said that they were best when he had Carl, when he had Matt, when he had Denny. Like 4 all-stars. Do you kind of feel the same way at Stewart Haas Racing, where you had 2 champions and, 2 guys that were hungry to kind of turn their careers around?
It definitely makes a difference, because, as a part of that process, it's really taking all 4 of those opinions and finding the common denominators that of things that you need to fix. And when you do that, when you have that, you can fix things faster. And, I think that the other thing is, when you add Ford into that mix and you add those resources on top of, the approach that the ownership group has, I look at our environment as very stable, but also, very competitive in wanting to win races. And when you have those gaps that need to be filled from a sponsorship standpoint, or we're not closing shop. They're putting Haas Automation on the side of the car until you figure it out. And from an employee standpoint, and drivers included, that's a very secure environment that creates something that everybody knows that we're here for the long haul.
You really seem to have a good life-work balance too, and throwing KHI into that mixture. How do you kind of find that with as much time as you have that you have to dedicate to the team, and happy hours and everything that you have going on? Do you just, at your age, know when to say no?
Yeah, you have to know that you can say no. And I think for me, I think the most valuable piece for me from a fan relations standpoint has become the radio show. So we continue to do that. And, I look at the TV piece as something that down the road as an option of something that would be interesting to do. So we continue to do that. And from the team standpoint and the KHI standpoint, we really incorporate the same thought process, across those two platforms, just because of the fact that you have to have a, well-balanced life in order to compete, at a high level. It's just part of your life, and so, really all of those pieces are included in that life balance, and being able to manage those things. I know what my workload is. I know how many days I'm going to work, and I know they know when I like to do things and don't like to do things, and everybody seems happy with knowing those parameters of how we want things to work. And when it doesn't work, we sit down, we adjust on it a little bit, as we do every year, to make changes, and you go forward.
So what are you thinking, maybe another 4 years?
I don't know that I can actually put a number on it. I mean, I'm not even to 45 yet, and you look at Rusty and Dale and a lot of those guys were Mark ran into his mid 50s, and so I just the experience means so much in our sport, and I think having that balance on life, it'll take a lot of these guys a number of years to build that, as to what some of us have already built. So it's a matter of the sport is changing. From a financial standpoint, there are lifestyles and things that some have built, and some ways that you want to do things, and I think that we've tried with a management company. It makes you try to adapt to what you want to see for your clients, and having NASCAR clients, as the guy that's supposed to be the leader of that whole thing. We've started to change up how many times you take your motor home, how many times you fly on the team plane, what do you own, what do you not own, what's an in-game plan as far as from a financial standpoint. So you have to actively test all those things out, and we did a number of things this year to try to to adapt to the changing environment, so that you can pass those things down. So I don't know that there's actually a number that you can put on the time frame. So it's really going to come down to my kids and where they are in life, and how you feel about being away from home. That's really what it comes down to.
Are you jazzed up about the Mustang coming next year, and how do you think the progress is going?
There was a lot of effort that was put into the Mustang. Obviously, it wasn't designed 100% to race in the rules package that we're going to race it in, but I think I think that part is kind of behind us. But I don't know that we all know exactly what the balance of the race car needs to be, what the races are going to look like, how you're going to race. Is it going to be speed? Is it going to be handling? Nobody really knows what you're going to face, so it's going to kind of be trial and error at the beginning of the season to see what you need. We're going to go to Daytona with a different rules package, and we're going to go to Talladega. So it's kind of a weird year, as far as what to expect. I think that our guys will prepare as well as they have. I know they put a lot of time and effort into the Mustang, and feel like we understand it. We probably understand a lot more about the Mustang going in than we did when we first started with Ford. So I think that all that understanding of how the Ford worked that we currently run or had run, and what was put into the new car and the tendencies and all those types of things, I think you have a little more history.
Somebody said that they expected it to look more like trucks. I mean, do you think in the short term the new car will more resemble the kind of competition we see in the truck series? I
don't think so. I think that the trucks just, they draft a lot better than what I think you're going to see the cars draft based upon, the testing. It's just going to be, it's really going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out, because I can't really give you an honest opinion, because I've not tested it. The cars have a lot more horsepower than what they had at the All-Star race. Some of the rules are different. So there's so many variances of what it could look like that I don't really know what it's going to look like.
My guess is there's no one you'd rather have at your side to help you get through that than Rodney Childers.
Yeah, Rodney does a great job, and I think obviously for us, we just go from week to week and see what we fight and try to fix it.
Appreciate your time today, Kevin.
Thank you.